Hello, hello, hello. I'm live. I've been having welcome to Health and Wellbeing with Viata. I'm trying to get my guest her camera to work, so I was a little distracted, but how is everybody today? It's December 5th. We're in a 7 numeral energy. So welcome, welcome, welcome to the village. And we're going to get this party started right now by giving you a little tour of my tiny house journey. Welcome. So come on in, everybody, to my tiny house, 320 square feet of joy, joy, joy. This is it. This is my living room. The kitchen's over there, the bedroom's over there, and the bathroom's over here. And I'm in pure, pure joy, joy, joy. So, how are you this morning? Thank you for joining me. I have amazing guests today. I read an article that she wrote in the Natural Awakening magazine 2 weeks ago, actually. And I said, wow, I got to have this lady on the show. So she's having a little camera issues right now, but we are praying that everything goes correctly. And if nothing else, we'll have her audio on. And oh, there she is. There she is. There you are. I see you. Let me add her to the. Why? Your mic. Open your mic.
It's open. You hear
All
me?
right, we got you. Hey.
Hey.
Woohoo! Don't go away. Don't go away.
I'll try not to.
All right, there's Kyle. It's Kyle, right?
Yes.
Kyle, welcome, Kyle, and we will see you in just a few minutes. We're gonna do some joint rolling with us and
Okay.
breathing, and then we'll be right back. Don't go away.
All right. I'll do the same.
All right, so I'm very, very glad to have Kyle on with me this morning because there are so many of us who need to be grounded and balanced. The key word is balanced. Oh my goodness, I keep hearing that word. Especially last night, I was doing some full moon meditation, some full moon exercises. I was doing some rhythm, just going with the full, it was bright as heck. So this energy is still with us. So let us just breathe in. Woo! The energy of the full moon on December 5th, 2025, because after today, it's going to be waning. That means it's going to get smaller and smaller. So we want to take advantage fully of all the energy that the universe gives us. It is so important these days to connect to nature and it is so to be in the alignment of the planets that are loving us, the universe that is loving us. Woo, it is just a beautiful time to be in sync with nature. The full moon, the stars, the planet line up. So let's breathe in again. Breathe in through your nose, breathe in through your nose. Let go of all that anger, resentment, hate, for unforgiveness. Breathe in. Breathe in through your nose. Breathe in, breathe in. Let go of all the frustration. I had so much frustration yesterday, and I'm going to talk to Kyle about it and about helping me accept the unconsciousness of my family. Oh my goodness. And what I call stupidity. Now, stupid is an acronym for STUPID, substandard training, unable to propel, inspire, and deliver from unconsciousness, is the way I look at it. So, stupid is not a negative word, it's just a statement of where we people are in the hierarchy of energy. So anyway, why do we roll joints? If you're new to Viata's Tiny House Village, to health and well-being with Viata, we roll all our joints, all of them. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 joints. We roll 11 joints to improve our circulation, because of course movement is the key to getting that blood flowing, and we improve our immune system when we do joint rolling. And we also when we improve our immune system, and our lymphatic system gets some drainage, pumping, pump. When we move, it's pumping the lymphatic system. And finally, our muscles. We strengthen the muscles when we roll these joints, okay? So let's put some music on. Time for Healing by the Sounds of Blackness. Time for Healing by the Sounds of Blackness. And let's start with our neck, this big joint right here. When we do this, we're activating that throat chakra. If you know about chakras, there's some spinning energy. Take a look around. The world has gone insane. I saw someone throw in a video, throw a bowling ball at another person and knock them out. They were in a bowling. And I thought, this is steroid, anger and hate on steroids. So let us come together and activate love for self first. Activating love for self first. 13 neck roll that head and get jiggly. 13, I think it's 13 joints she's reminding me. So let's get the neck going. Breathing in. Let me make sure the music's not too high. Breathing in as we go. This first joint is called the resonant tone. We are in the resonant tone with a connection to the galactic energy. Breathing in the truth of who we are. And let's reverse that. Reverse that neck roll and go the other direction. Let the healing flow. Can you feel the healing flowing? We got to have healing. Now we go to the shoulders, which are called rhythmic and galactic tones. These are activation portals to keep us connected to the higher source. So let's roll those shoulders back a few times. Backwards. The muscles in the back are being exercised. Let's go forward. Breathing in, taking in the life of the 7 today. No, wait. 5, 6, it's an 8 today. 12 and 5 is 8. So we're rolling around in an 8. New beginnings. That new moon should shoot you into new beginnings. Now let's just roll the elbows while we're here. Roll the elbows. Are overtone and solar connections, portals. We're moving into the throat chakra and the third eye chakra. We're moving down from higher chakra, the crown chakra, into throat. Now we're into the third eye and throat chakra energy. So we are activating the circles, the circular forms of chakras in us, and look at those muscles. I'm building my muscles. I'm doing a lot of more weightlifting lately, so I'm starting to see the muscle build up. And what we're doing today is going to building your muscles. So let's even do, let's get on our back and do our ankles and our wrists together. Yes, I'm wearing socks today because it's a little chilly in Florida. All its brothers and sisters, my brothers and sisters are joining me. And let's reverse that. Woo, breathe in, breathe in. And now rub those hands together and let's massage the knees. The knees are so important. We are down in the base chakra. When we're working on our legs, that's your base, your root chakra, activating that part of this temple body. And then reverse it, reversing it, reversing. Yeah, it's 13 joints. Thank you, sister. She reminded me 13 joints that we're activating. And the chakras are going spinning, happy spinning chakras. Now, if you cannot roll like this, just bend and point. Bend and point. This is actually great for if you're having neuropathy problems. You're going to get that blood flowing and get the numbness healed just by flexing and pointing, okay? This is your alternative movement. Bend the knees and just move, keep moving. If that's all you can do, that is enough. Just point and flex, even if you're in bed. So let's roll over and let's get this hip work going. That's so important. If you're going to avoid hip surgery, you got to keep moving that hip. Take your time and roll that leg around. Got to have healing. So says Sounds of Blackness. Roll slowly. Take your time. Breathe in and reverse that. Breathe in, reverse, reverse. Breathe in, reverse. Breathe in, reverse. Breathe in, reverse. Deep breath in. Let's flip to the other side. And keep rolling. Let me see. Keep my music going a little bit here. Got to have healing. Keep it rolling. We're in the root chakra energy. And we're listening to the Sounds of Blackness. I do not own the rights to do. Let's reverse that. The rights to this music. But I love it, and it's for educational purposes. Did you know music is for educational and healing purposes? Because music vibrates with your inner orchestra. You have an orchestra playing inside of you. And so the music is just harmonizing and aligning your whole body with the planet. So we're in the hip, spectral, and electric portals. We're activating the tones. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, 13 joints. Thank you. 13 joints that we're activating. So let's get on our back now. Bring those knees to the chest. Hug those knees, rock side to side. You're giving your spinal cord a nice massage. Woo, breathe in, breathe in. Breathe in, breathe in. Loving yourself. Love. This is the fly moment. First, love yourself. And then roll over to one side and push up. Come up and give yourself a hand. If you've gotten this far, you're doing great. You're doing great. So we're going to stop the music and let's just rub those hands together and give our vagus nerve some activation. The vagus nerve to me is like the trunk of this tree of life. We are in a tree of life. Place those hands on the neck and squeeze and release. Squeeze and release. Woo! Squeeze and one more time. Breathe in. Squeeze and release. Woo! Wow, wow, wow. Shake it off, shake it off. Let's give our love tap to the arms. This spot right here is where when you have pain in your body anywhere, just start slapping that, get the blood flowing right there. Tap, tap, tap. Love, love. I love you. Speak to your body. Your body loves to be touched. I mean, you're learning more and more. The body, in the end of the day, just start hugging your body. I love you. I love you. And it's going to respond to your love. Ooh, like nobody else can. Touch around. Make sure you get all around the breast and love on the breast. Take some frankincense oil if you're having any discomfort. Take some frankincense oil and some carrier oil like almond oil or jojoba oil and mix it all up and just give your breasts a massage and talk to them and meditate if they're in pain. Ask them, why are you in pain? What's going on? What relationship problems am I having that my breasts are responding to? And then make sure you give your microbiome area a little love tap around the navel. That's where all those microbes are hanging out to help you. Your army's down there, woo, loving on the microbes. And then don't forget your kidneys are right here. Too many people on dialysis. I think part of it, not enough love and attention. Those kidneys need love and attention. And your adrenal glands working hard these days, all the stress. Give those kidneys and adrenal gland love and attention. And we are back. Take a deep breath. Woo. Deep breath. How are we feeling? Okay. Are we doing better than when we started? So we're going to take a break, a meditation break, so I'm going to go into my studio and go into my studio and all right, we're back in the studio. Thank you for being patient. I had some glitches there going on, but I'm so excited to have with me this morning a beautiful soul who has going to share her journey with us and help us remember what the mind forgets. That's the name of the article that I read by Kyle in the Natural Awakening that just blew my mind. And I thought, wow, this woman has something to share, has something to say. And so I connected with her. She's a licensed mental health counselor, and she has a business here in Central Florida since I think it was 1998. So she specializes in bioenergetic analysis. So let me bring on Kyle. Good morning, my dear. How are you?
Hi, I'm well. Thank you. How are
Turn,
you?
turning the volume up. Here we are. We did it. We did it.
We did it.
We had some challenges this morning, but hey, we persevere here. I invite so many people to be on my show, and they're either afraid to be on camera or it's too early or I just get so many excuses. So I have to create a show through YouTube. I usually use, there's a lot of professionals on YouTube. So it's really nice to see a face live who has been doing the work. And that's what Kyle and I talked about when we first spoke on the phone. All the work that it takes to become whole and healthy and on a path of healing and joy, right?
Exactly. Yes.
So welcome, welcome, welcome. And we've got, let's see, let me just acknowledge we've got some people in the studio already. Supreme Elevation in Lakesh, Washita. Well, that's my sister with the synchronistic human family, I believe. And she says 13 neck roll that head and get jiggly and dizzy. That's what we do every morning. And I had said there were only 11, but I think I missed the hips or something. There are 13 joints that she actually, this sister here is the one who reminded me of the cosmic connection we have to our with our joints and why, and then just point out why it's so important to roll those joints. So she said, yes, beloved, I'm activated now in the flow. Thank us. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Thank you for joining me this morning, sister. And welcome, Kyle. Kyle, you have some really important challenges you've been through in your life, and I want you to just share whatever is on your heart. No pressure to be really transparent here. We like to be transparent only because we can help other people who have gone through the same things, right?
Absolutely.
So I'm gonna just let you take over with the mic and share. I always like my guests to start at the beginning, wherever that is for you in your mother's womb. Sometimes, if you know what was going on there, that's a story right there. I had a womb experience. My mother wanted to abort me when she was in. She told me that on her deathbed. Basically, she had cancer. I'm laying sitting in the bed with her, and we're
Oh my.
chatting. I was reading the Bible to her, and she said, "Is that the Bible?" She said, "You know, I wanted to abort you," and I'm
Oh,
like, "Oh, okay." And at that point, I was like, "Wow!" I had an override. I had a
right.
divine override because I'm still here.
Uh-huh.
So, Kyle, what's
Yeah.
been going on in your journey since you came to Earth? Let's just say
Oh,
that.
and that's not the first time I've heard that story. I had a very close friend in the bioenergetic community, and she had the exact same situation. It was a failed abortion. And she only got that through doing the work because the body remembers. The mind can shut it off, but the body knows what was happening. So yeah, I'm so sorry for that, but here you are and you're a survivor and there's a reason, you know? So
Gratitude, nothing but gratitude.
absolutely. So my start was I was born, and my parents were, one was Rh negative and the other was Rh positive. Their blood types did not match. And back in the 1950s, I don't believe they do this today, but they would take out the blood and put in new blood. So I had the hospital record for blood transfusions, 13 of them.
Wow.
And so you can
Just for
imagine
your mother?
that was at birth.
Wow.
Yes. That
Okay.
was yeah. So imagine what that would do to a psyche. So anyway, so the blood transfusions, and then so I didn't leave the hospital with my mother. I was there, for a number of weeks until I was, done with the jaundice and recovered. And but my mother, they also knocked mothers out, so they didn't deliver conscious. They were totally under anesthesia.
Wow. What city was this?
Hickory, North Carolina.
Wow.
Well,
Okay.
there wasn't a hospital there, so I think it was probably with Winston-Salem Hospital.
Okay.
So I had a childhood of, my mother was a beauty queen. She was Miss New Haven and then Miss Connecticut and then in the Miss USA pageant. As a young girl, she traveled to and from Connecticut to Fifth Avenue and, did modeling. And so she was very much into being a star. She just, being a mother and being a wife was nothing she wanted.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it was, so she really enjoyed that lifestyle, and she bragged to me about dating the captains of the Yale and Harvard football teams, and That was just, as far as she was concerned, that was the life. And so she met my father, and for her generation, married late, so maybe 24, 25, and he was 30. He, my father he had a tragic childhood. He was born to a mother, probably, alcoholic, probably mental illness issues, but his two siblings and he were removed from her care when she ironed his back. And
What?
yes. And so, and as a very, as a baby, threw him on the ironing board and ironed him. So she would, and she would throw the children in a closet while she prostituted for money. And
Your
his father,
grandmother. You're talking about your grandmother.
that would be my grandmother. Yeah, the
Oh
one
my God.
I never met her. And she gave birth to his younger brother while she was in jail, in prison. And her husband was a very wealthy dentist.
Hmm.
Not husband. I don't know if they were married or not, but that's who his father was. He never, you know. So anyway, so he grew up in foster care, and he would tell me about how they marched the children, like he wasn't the only one. They were all in a home or something, marched them across the stage, and the potential parents were all out watching in the audience and would pick the children. And it was the Great Depression, and so the grandmother that I grew up, you know, loving was the woman who she and her husband adopted over the years 25 foster children.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
I don't know if they adopted them, but they did it for money. And so, that was how they survived. They got paid by the government. But his father resented that because he couldn't work. And here he was, that's how they made money. So he killed himself to get his father's love and never could, because the father was just like, he was a symbol of his failure.
So your father committed suicide.
No, that was my husband.
Oh, your husband.
My
Okay.
father, my father drank himself to death by age 59. So I was about 23 when he died. Um, but he pulled himself up out of his bootstraps. He was a go-getter, got things done in life. At age 17, he was too young to join the army, and he wanted to, so he went to another state where they would, take him at age 17. So he was a Marine and was injured, concussed in the South Pacific, and was medically discharged. So then he went to college, and he made a great successful life in corporate life. He was a CEO, and at the top of the heap.
So you
So
didn't grow up in poverty, but you grew up with serious dysfunctional people or situation, right?
correct. So and the poverty did come later. He didn't. When you don't drink and back then they would drink in the office. They entertained drinking. He flew drunk the company plane. That was just part of that era apparently. And if anybody's ever watched Mad Men, that was him. And but
Oh.
they but they carried on like movie stars. So they thought they were, she thought she was Marilyn Monroe, and he thought he was Frank Sinatra. They dressed and they had the big lifestyle. And as a child, you don't even really know what that is. You're just like, okay, this is my life. And
And
so
did you say you grew up in a Catholic home?
my mother was a diehard Catholic, absolutely. So I went to parochial schools in New England, and um, my father never attended church. But anyway, so we lived in New England until my father, the marriage was not good. He'd bring home his secretary, walk right past my mother and her mother in their home, in my parents' home, and take her into the bedroom, have sex with her, take her
Are
out,
you
leave.
serious?
Yes, it was like that. You know,
Oh my
I
God.
didn't. Yeah, so she put up with a lot, but there was a lot of money, so she stayed until the money started to dwindle, and then he moved the family down to Florida because the divorce laws he wouldn't have to he wouldn't lose as much. Let's just put it that way. We lived in Massachusetts, and not a good state to get a divorce. for a man anyway, with a lot of money. So, but he pretty much squared, the money was pretty gone by then. And I grew up very independently because, I started supporting myself as well I could at age 10. I was doing paper routes and babysitting and whatever I had to do. And I started making money, and I've always been very independent financially. Um, didn't get anything from either of my parents when they died, and I didn't expect anything, But
So
so
you married when you were how old?
20 years old. So
Okay.
yeah, being a good Catholic girl, I just, I went to college and I'm like, well, everybody's having sex. I guess I can do that. So, and
Oh,
not like
go
making my,
overboard in college, I'm telling you.
I know, but I was a
You don't want to
straight.
hear my testimony, but it was like sex, yay, sex in college. Wow. That's why I love this song called Grace That Follows Me. When I
Uh-huh.
look back at my college days, grace followed me for
Yeah.
sure. My stupidity was off the chain. Anyway, had to throw that in there. Yeah, college. We have overcome. So we give ourselves a pat on the back. Overcame stupidity. That's what I call it. Go
Oh,
ahead. Sorry to interrupt.
oh, you're fine. You're fine. So anyway, I didn't realize this would happen to me, but the minute I'd had sex with him, I knew. I was like, oh no, I have to marry him. The Catholic thing just was so strong, and
So
he.
you felt obligated because the religion says you've had sex and you've
Oh
sinned.
yeah.
Now
Oh,
you have to be in marriage.
and my mother impressed upon me she said, I was a virgin when I married your father. I got the story, so I knew the line, I knew what I was supposed to do. But I didn't think I was going to be like that. But then it hits you, and you're like, oh, oh. So I told,
The programming hit you, huh?
yeah, it just takes over. And so when I said, whatever you do, don't ask me to marry me. Don't ask me to marry you. And of course he did, because I knew if he asked, I'd have to say yes. And
Oh wow. Okay. At
so
20, that's
at
amazing. I'm thinking about when you're 20. Boy, oh boy.
Yeah, so at 20, he was 25, and he'd had wild college days, not me. I was not very wild. I was working jobs just to, make ends meet, pay my car payments, pay my insurance, gas, this, that, and the other. And so, and I was tired of all that work and being so darn grown up so young, that it was a bit of a relief to know there was going to be somebody else, helping
Taking
with.
care of you, huh?
Yeah, well, that was the thought.
You had how many children?
Two.
Two
Yeah,
children.
right. So,
And you said one of them took their life. Was that
well, here's where the suicides come in. So 6 months after, not even 6 months, within 6 months of our marriage, his mother hangs herself. And she'd had mental illness issues and had been hospitalized at the National Institute of Mental Health, where you sign away your rights to anything of your body. They can do whatever they want, whatever they feel is necessary to heal you. So it's when and his father didn't tell him any of this. None of them knew she was hospitalized. None of them knew there were suicide attempts. But she came home from the hospital and went down to the basement and hung herself, and he found the father, his father found the body. And so that was my first experience with suicide anywhere close to mine.
so? Was your husband close to his mother?
He loved his mother. He hated his father,
Oh,
and he yeah. So that was the most emotional I think I've ever seen him when that happened. But
yeah.
he himself had been hospitalized with mental illness in college and
Oh.
was diagnosed bipolar and on medications when I met him. And he told me all of that, but it didn't really sink in, and I didn't know what to do with that information. So I just had compassion and said, "Wow, doing great." And little did I know, he wasn't doing so great inside. So from the first day of marriage, there was a different person. I was married to. He turned off what it took to get me to marry him, and it was just a constant power struggle. And so for 18 months, I fought it and tried to hang in there, and no. And then I just gave up. I said, there's no way I can live like this. And so I just said, that's it. It's going to be his way. And so,
So you kind of became a slave. Or,
absolute, absolutely. And I was young. I didn't know what to do about any of this. I just knew divorce wasn't an option, being raised Catholic. And I just didn't even consider that. Um, So we started having children. I had my son in 84, and he lived 25 years. First, my husband hung himself. That was 10 years after I divorced him. He did not want the divorce. And I just knew I wasn't going to be able to hang in there and be healthy mentally if I stayed in the relationship any longer. So I got out, and I had a feeling what kept me in was I just had a feeling he would commit suicide if I left. And so I really tried not to, add to that scenario. But then I said, no, I'm not going to make this. I'm going to be a depressed, miserable person if I don't get out of here for the rest of my life. So I got out, and then my son was in Hawaii. He had graduated from college by the time this happened. And he called me that morning from Hawaii, and he said, would you go check on Dad today? And I just knew that wasn't good. And so it was early in the morning, so I just took my time and I made sure I took a shower and ate a good breakfast. And then I got in my car and drove over there. And I'm pulling down his street, and I see his Cadillac in the driveway, and I'm like, oh, good. He didn't, gas himself in the garage, take him, kill himself. I thought that was a good sign. So I'm like relieved. And the whole way driving over, I'm just praying to God, I will take him back. I will care for him. I will do whatever it takes. Please, please don't let this, be the end of his life. And so I walked, the front door was unlocked, and I walked through the house. And as I'm going room to room, and each room, I'm just relieved, and there's nothing going on. There's nobody there. And I'm getting close to the front door, so I open the door to the garage, and there his body is hanging. And I just screamed bloody murder and shut that door. And, the rest of the day was kind of a blur. I know I called my daughter up at UF and told her, and I know I called my therapist in Alachua and told him. And so that was a very, very difficult situation, to say the least. I'm a mental health counselor. This is what I do. I'm, helping people every day of their issues. And so I did what I
and
could.
I want to first of all thank you for being able to share that without breaking down. But it really, I hope it helps people to see how important it is to talk about your past traumas and then move on and share it with others. And then we're going to go into what you do now to help people overcome
Yeah.
so much of that and more. Because, and then your children. Now, you said your son, something happened to your son, was it, or your daughter?
Yeah. So 7 months later, my son dies tragically in a surfing accident in Panama, Central America. Yeah. So just when you think life couldn't get any weirder or harder or crazier, yeah, he dies. And so, but he'd been trapped in a body that had grand mal seizures from age 14 from
Mm.
vaccine injuries.
Oh,
And so he'd already had at least 6 near drownings. He was a surfer. You were not going to stop that. And the medications didn't do a thing. And so he just quit those very early on. But he lived life to the fullest. You never saw a bitter attitude in him. He was just a beautiful, beautiful soul. And I was just blessed to have the years I had with him. and he was at peace. You know, both of them, they're both at peace now. They don't have those, issues that were just so hard to live with.
How long did it take you to come to that mental thought that they're at peace now and no need to grieve? Okay, how long did it take you to get out of the grief to say they're at peace now?
Well, the grief is, you go back and forth, so that, I'm not always that, that well with it, depending on what's going on in my life, how much stress I'm dealing with, or, you can sink right back down, but you know the truth. So, why would you create suffering for your own life, and what is that going to accomplish? So, um, the work really helped me, working on the body, keeping it open, keeping it alive. Don't let things get trapped in the body. You hold on to trauma. And for what? It's not serving you, and it's not serving the planet. It's not serving, everybody you come in contact with. Is that really what you want to bring?
So what education did you go through to help you mature with that reality?
I would say, well, I started out just normal talk therapy. I started therapy very early on. I didn't want to bring the issues I had from childhood to my children. So I made sure I started working, before I gave birth to my two children. And then I just continued. I would just, you keep finding a higher level of what you can handle in therapy until I feel like I got to the one that's the toughest there is. But it did the most, it gave me the most benefit. So it's all about opening up the body, being present for your emotions, all of them. Don't judge any of them. They're all there for a reason, but you have to let them out. It's like exercising demons. You really have to work them out. Um, and it's ugly, it's ugly crying, and it's ugly words and screaming and hitting, and then, you know what I mean? But you're not hurting anybody. You're just getting rid of those demons. You don't want them in there, and they don't belong there. They'd love to hang out. They'd love to keep bringing disease to your mind and body, But no, that's not what we came here to do. We came here to be joyful and loving, and just so grateful for this beautiful planet and this beautiful opportunity to grow and evolve and become more enlightened.
Uh, and and I'm so grateful that you have shared all this background, because what you do now, when you hear stories that don't even compare to what you went through, and you have people sad and it's complaining, do you sometimes get a little impatient with them, or do you just draw on your own compassion for yourself, even that you had to go through something? And then I can't imagine you even meeting people who had anything close to what you went through. And yet you have to really show compassion in your business and in your work.
Oh, yes, absolutely. And you have to understand that what I could take, other people might not be able to take. And so, we're all met with the challenges and experiences in this lifetime that will heal us. And so what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And it does. And it's lovely to be on the other side of it, and to finally, at age 67, be drawing things into my life now that are more about celebration and joy and happiness and love and laughter. And wow, I was doing that all along, but it wasn't as satisfying, you know. It wasn't as satisfying because I've always been a joyful person. I was smiled. They don't see me without pictures with a smile on my face and happy, and like, that's who I am. But it was harder, when you're constantly fighting, these battles on all fronts. And
Absolutely.
but also the energy on the planet is really dynamic right now for healing. And so, and I did have a client recently come in whose story was almost as rotten as mine. So there are people that have horrible, horrible things, but they don't always want to go anywhere with it. They've spent their whole life avoiding it, and that's how they're going to continue. And that's okay. We will all awaken, but everybody in their own time. There's nothing wrong with that. that's where they are right now, and there's no rush. And in the end, we'll find out space and time we're not real anyway. So I just think it's exciting, and I'm just the kind of person that loves that kind of intimacy with people. Though I love that people will go, open themselves up, because what remains unconscious or subconscious will be running your life if you don't open up to it. And you won't know it. You won't really understand that. So I like to get to the bottom of things. And I just trust that, people who are capable of that, want that, they'll find their way to the right person and get that. There's no one way to, open up. There's so many ways.
Absolutely. Do you have any exercises that you give your clients to help them move from, say, a low vibration, sadness, depression,
Oh,
grief, to
absolutely.
get to a higher consciousness,
Yeah,
basically?
absolutely.
What's your method?
Well, the main thing is with the spine. So if your spine is inflexible, that's how you will meet life. So you really have to open up the spine. That, the breath really depends upon that. So the degree to which you can be flexible and move and flow through your life, the stresses, the, things that are challenging, is the degree to which your spine is flexible. And so one of the big things we do is for the breath work. And in the old days, we used a breathing stool. It's a little bit dramatic for a lot of spines. So you just take like a workbench kind of a stool, wrap it with some blankets around it, bungee cords, and put your back, just stretch back over that, and work the breath from there. So when I have clients in session, I'll work the tight muscles in their intercostals, or whatever's available to me that I know needs opening up, based on how I see them breathing and where the breath isn't going and where it's stuck, and how I can help it open up. But for myself, I had a drum. It's called a drum. It's about 4 feet high, about 3 feet in diameter, and I roll over that every day, and use it for my clients as well. So that's a big part of it, getting at that spine. But you also have to check and see, where are they cold? There'll be so many cold ankles, and so you have to do some acupressure, open up the tensions down in the ankles and the feet, um, because pleasure in the body is when there's no tension. So you really have to go after those tensions. And, if it's been there 30, 40, 50 years, it takes some might to break down that tension. And that's painful. I know my first session when I went up to Alachua and met my therapist. I had at the time plantar fasciitis, and he put me over a dowel. And I use the dowel a lot too, because that helps with grounding. So it's just a 1 inch in diameter, round, just like a closet rod, wooden rod. You put your feet over that and take a breath with each part of your foot as you move it, roll it over. I felt like I hit the ceiling. I screamed bloody murder, and that plantar fasciitis was gone.
Hmm.
It hurt. It hurt like hell, but boy, was it nice to have that relief. And then you have nice contact with the earth. It feels good, to walk and to feel your feet on the ground.
So explain to us what a dowel is again.
So just think about if you have in your closet, if you were to take down the rod that is holding your clothes,
Okay, you're
yeah, just pull that down. But you could just go into Home Depot and they'll have a bin, and you go pick up it's about an inch, I'd say, inch across. You'll know when you step over it if you got the right size. It's not pleasant, and I still get over it. If I haven't been on it in a while, I'll get over it again.
you're just rubbing your feet over it.
You're standing on it, putting the whole weight of your body on it.
Oh, wow. Okay, standing on it. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. So we go kind of extreme in bioenergetics. We don't mess around. But I'll tell you, in the workshops and the colleagues, the people I've worked with, and the places we've gone together, I mean, we have healed some major traumas. And most of the people, I went through the program with are all counselors as well. So we're all doing it to help others, but you can't help anybody if you haven't healed yourself. So it's a process.
Absolutely. And it seems like you've done a really great job of working on you first. And with all that experience and trauma you had no choice,
I,
right?
I felt that way. Yeah, and honestly, and like I told you when we spoke, I've had cancer 4 times, starting at age 30, and my most recent one was in 2023, and my I didn't die from it. I mean, it came in, it snuck in, but I'd already started working on myself by then. So each time I would let them take the tumor out, and then they'd say, "Oh, we need more." I go, "Yeah, you can take more." I did not let them to go into my lymph nodes. I did not take any interferon. I did not, I did the rest myself, and I didn't do it myself. I was healed. I was
So
luckily.
tell me, what was the first cancer diagnosis? And did you go to a doctor and do the test and they said, "Oh, you have cancer," and where was it?
Yeah, I had 4 melanoma tumors. Each one was melanoma. My uncle died from it. I have cousins who have it. Um,
So that's skin cancer.
right, skin cancer, but it's also the most fastest spreading cancer there is. So you can't really mess around with melanoma. And by the time a lot of people find it, it's too late. And my tumors were all pretty darn advanced. But I just did the work, and I trusted and prayed and I did everything I knew to do. Meditate, clean up your diet, exercise. My first therapist, one of my first few therapists told me the only reason you're still here is you exercise. And so I've always been very serious about, working this body, working the energy, and chasing that cancer out.
So all four were diagnosed as melanoma or what you call skin cancer.
Yes. Hmm.
Okay. So you're familiar with Louise Hay, right?
Yes. Hmm.
So did you ever refer to her in your journey to heal the melanoma?
Well, I do recognize what I learned from that type of training was that my cancer was all grief related. Um, so it was like large intestine, gut, grief. And, I lost a sister when I was 3. She died at age 5, my older sister. And the grief in that house was just, it,
Palpable, huh?
oh, it was awful. And I didn't, it was 3. I didn't really understand or know anything. I just knew everybody there was so sad and, ugh, such a tragedy. And so I think I carried that with me, picked it up from the home and carried it forward.
And cancer in general from Louise Hay is a deep hurt.
Mm-hmm.
When the body starts producing my training with German New Medicine, which I'm a practitioner of,
Mm-hmm.
is when the body produces tumors or inflammation. It's a deep hurt that hasn't been resolved.
Right.
It's a conflict that has not been resolved, emotional conflict that hasn't been resolved. And boy, you had plenty of those I didn't realize about your sister. So yeah, you had to go really deep inside.
And I also remember the word resignation. The cancer is all about resignation. So you're just resigned to you know, this horrible weight. And, we can't be resigned to it. No, that's not what we came here for. And so you have to fight, and as much as, the Catholic Church, this and that, and blah, 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 it did keep me, you know, in subservience to my Creator. I have a love of God and Jesus Christ, and I go to Unity Orlando is my church home, church family, and it's amazing.
Well, Unity is really they're kind of, I would say, non-traditional.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So I think as we grow up in traditional Sunday school, I always say, and religion, I started out in a Methodist church. And my
Okay.
parents sent me and my two sisters to church. Neither one of them ever went with us, but we went to Methodist church every Sunday, dressed up on your way. What we would walk to through 2 or 3 blocks to the church and come back or together
Yep.
at some point. And then we from there the Baptist church came in
Uh,
because I had relatives who were in the Baptist. My aunt, my mother's sister, was part of the Church of God in Christ. The Roberts family founded the Church of God in Christ in or Chicago. So we got a little of that in.
right.
And then from there, it was, I never went through the Catholic system at all, but I had enough of a Seventh day Adventist, Hebrew Israelites.
Yep.
So I'm a Bible student,
Yeah.
but like you, it's a foundation.
Right.
And I think if you grow out of the religious traditions, you go to there's a kingdom within.
Yeah.
Christ said,
Right.
the kingdom is within.
Absolutely.
So we, as older, can I ask how old are you?
67.
Okay, so I'm your older sister. I'm 70. So we as we journey through the religious teaching, I think everybody should go through that teaching because the
Yeah.
Bible has lots of lessons, whether it's Noah and the ark or even Adam and Eve, which is that's off. But when we get to the New Testament, we really can explore more the meaning of the Messiah and truth and spirit and all that, which
Mhm.
can help you, to me, mature if you have a relationship with the Creator and the kingdom within.
Yes. Absolutely. Yep.
Our healing work, our work as healers. I'm a life coach, can really be helpful to others if we mature, I think. But if we
Yeah.
stay in the Sunday school and the and Sunday school and the small the kindergarten, I would say,
Yeah.
yeah, we're going to confuse the hell out of people because we are meant to evolve, wouldn't you say, out of that, but use it as a springboard to learn the lessons. Okay,
Yeah.
so what would you say are the biggest lessons from your foundational journey in not just religion but your family? You What are the biggest lessons that you come away with?
Well, you just have to, like my father, when he went through, you don't realize how much that's forming you, and it's not accidental. I don't feel like there are. I think there are no coincidences, and we're being formed and prepared for what we're going to accomplish or what we came here to accomplish. So I really, my heart went out to my father. I couldn't reach him. He couldn't, he was a good man inside, but he hate, he was so had such a rough start. He didn't know that about. I don't think he believed or knew that about himself. So he drank himself to death. By the end, he'd married a woman who abused him. I came over to see him one day, and his face was all black and blue, and she had taken the phone, an old school phone, and smashed his head with it. So, and because that's how he was treated as such a young child, that felt like love. So I just saw that, and so I found myself, and I didn't know why I did what I did, how I came into mental health counseling. But when I found myself as a therapist at Great Oaks Village in Orlando, which was foster care, where these are the children that are taken removed from the worst circumstances at home. So I was counseling him. I was counseling my father there, and so I was healing that part. And I think when we heal our ancestors' stuff as well. So it's a big job, and why not go for it? What could be more worthy in this life? So, and nobody wanted to go. None of the counselors at Devereaux, where I was doing my internship and getting my hours. None of them wanted to go out to Great Oaks Village. These kids were rough. They were survivors and fighters and thrivers, and I just loved them. And I didn't try to fix them. I just spent time with them, and they were just so, you know, it was just so healing to see them heal and feel like something other than, and they didn't want to be taken from these homes. No matter how bad your home is, that's your home, those are your people, and they resented that. So I just, yeah, that's
So
kind
it's
of,
made you a more compassionate person, your beginnings, your challenging beginnings.
yeah, because I couldn't fix it then. I couldn't fix things that I would like to have fixed. And so it's very satisfying to be able to, at some point in your life, affect things in a positive way that are,
So
very,
if someone comes to you with cancer diagnosis, let's say, since you have had four and you've had to deal with that, what is some of the advice you would give them? Especially these women on Facebook, I'm on like 3 or 4 Facebook pages
uh-huh.
where related to healing and health and all that, and they come on. Some of them come on and it's, oh, my oncologist this, my oncologist that, and I'm like, oh dear, here we go, worshiping the oncologist and going
Yeah.
through the hell of chemo.
Oh,
Okay, that maybe that's your assignment, I'm thinking, but let's think about what would you advise someone when they come with you with that diagnosis? What do I do? What should I do?
yeah, you can't go at it directly because they are where they are, and you're not going to, take them out of that, just by saying no chemotherapy. No, you have to meet them where they are. You can't badmouth the system. To me, that's what I would recommend. You don't go after it, but you have to unravel what would have them trust something outside of themselves. So they're not connecting, they're not grounded, they're not loving themselves, they're not finding their own answers, they're not going within. So really, I would just work as I would with any other client, remove the blocks. If they're not open to it, they're not open to it. Because it's deep work, and if they don't have a lot of time, that's what they've been told, they're not going to be comfortable waiting or postponing all the treatments that the allopathic, is going to throw at them, the Western medicine. you know, the con. You have to meet them where they are and love them where they are, help them to come out of that. Just trust, get them to trust the body and to trust themselves, because their answers are all inside of them. As you said, the kingdom within, that's where the answers are. And their path, they may not, it may change like that, it may not. And that might be their path. That's what they're to do this time. And maybe they're done with this world, and it's okay. You're not doing anything wrong if you die. It's as natural as, any other part of our walk.
Yeah, so I'm sure you see people with a lot of fear. So
Mm.
what is some of the advice you would give someone to come out of what I think is the major cause of their choices is they're in fear? Is there anything you would recommend to help people begin to let go of the fear?
Well, is just the fear is just they don't think they're okay, and they don't think they're lovable, and they don't. And so if you meet somebody there, people are just shocked that you'll accept them where they are. That's healing in itself. And my therapist told me, I don't know how many times, maybe just once, but he said to me, if you'd had one good friend in this life, you wouldn't need me. And so it doesn't have to be a therapist. It doesn't have to be somebody with a license. If you're not up to that, you have to find somebody who's grounded. You have to find somebody who can be with you and not try to fix you and not try to walk all over you or not manipulate you see your stuff and, oh, I can make money off you. But no, you have to find that there are real people. And that's what I love about Unity. You walk in there, it's love. It's just love. You know, you can feel it. There's a difference. People aren't trying to get something from you. They're trying to help you heal just by smiling at you like they love you. It's that simple. It's not a big deal. It's not complicated.
Yeah, and support. I've been to Unity Church in Orlando. Or which one are you going to?
Yeah, the
Clara,
one,
Claricona or Coy?
yes, yeah,
Oh,
clerical. Yeah,
okay, that's where I've been several times. I had a friend, good friend, who was a member, and then she moved to
yeah,
San Francisco, and then things happened. But yeah, the environment definitely is very loving and supportive.
yeah.
Loving and supportive.
And it's not a complicated, they're not trying to teach you all this contrived stuff. It's not a lot of baloney, it just kind of cuts to the chase.
Yeah, very modern and non-traditional is what I would
It's
say. Yeah.
true.
And very loving people. That was the main thing I enjoyed about it. Very loving. You come in there as a stranger and you feel like family when you leave.
Right. And it's
Yeah.
not fake, it's real, so.
So we've got okay, someone. Oh, Frances just joined us. She's watching. Hi, Frances. So if for those of you who are just joining us, we're talking to Kyle Hoofnagle, and I learned Hoofnagle is a German name because we don't see that every day.
No,
What
no.
was your maiden name?
Rollins.
Oh, that's very common.
Yeah.
But
I tried to keep my name, but don't think that was gonna fly.
oh, you mean when you got married?
Yeah.
You were like, oh, I don't think I want to be a Hoofnagle.
But
Okay. He said, no, you're gonna, and so you would call him a narcissist of sorts, right? Your husband.
yes.
Yeah. So you know what? That is a great experience if you are in a relationship with a narcissist for very long. You have a lot to share about the person, the narcissistic. I did a workshop on narcissism at the Kundalini Yoga Center in Altamont Springs, and I did a workshop on the four agreements.
Oh yeah.
I kind of brought them together because you start out with narcissism saying narcissism is a spectrum. And there are some of us, myself included, my friend and I always say, we're on one end of narcissism because we like to control the hell out of our families at some point.
Right.
Especially me, I had an alcoholic mom. And when I got married, I said, I'm not going through what I went through with my mother and the sadness and all. So I'm going to control your diet, your behavior, everything. And they were like, push back, push back, push. And so you end up being wounded and bruised and hurt because they're pushing back and rejecting your narcissistic energy, really.
Right, right.
So this spectrum that you and I have learned, especially you with living with, my husband was not very narcissistic. He had some mild tendencies of trying to control me, but they weren't major. And then you have people, you move into like President Trump, he's way over here with, it's all about me. It's all about me. I don't know why people get so upset with this man. Just recognize who he's a narcissist,
Exactly.
extreme narcissist.
Right.
But that's what we need right now, I think, in the White House. We don't need some softy.
I agree.
"Oh,
We need male energy, and we got it.
control, control, control. We're going to control the hell out of everybody and everything. And it's just up to us to recognize that, don't you think? I
Yeah.
mean, do you look back now and see how narcissistic your spouse was and all the other people in your life and how that has gotten you down to the spectrum over here?
Yes, I do. But I also have also caught myself doing it to people, like you said. I did it to my daughter. She got very upset with me last summer and just told me off big time, and I'd earned it. Because I was trying to micromanage, not just, I'm fixing her life, and way too much energy over there. And I needed it, and I'm glad she could do that. She was in a depression last winter, and now she's fighting her, clawing her way out of it, and that's wonderful. I support that. And
Yeah, it's hard with families. Let me just share something. Maybe you can help me at this point. I live in a tiny house in my son's backyard. I renovated this whole place. Spent all my money from the sale of my tiny house on wheels. I sold my tiny house on wheels that I lived in for 5 years. And
Uh-huh.
I put all the money into putting in a bathtub, plumbing, kitchen, everything, electricity, all that, because it was just an empty wooden shed,
Uh-huh.
fully insulated on the walls. So that was a clue. And
Uh-huh.
then my ex-husband and son changed the roof even before I thought about renovating this place. They put a new roof on this. I'm like, that's interesting. So long story short, my son and his family are totally standard American diet,
Right.
into their contraptions. I went over there the other day, yesterday, in fact. My 9-year-old grandson had a phone in his hand. I'm like, what is going on here? And I knew his sister had a phone, their mother, and he's divorced. That's why they come and go, the grandkids.
Mm-hmm.
And the sister is 11. The mother gave the 11-year-old a phone, and I went, oh wow, why would she do that? She's a real strong narcissist too. So
Yeah.
I'll put that out there because it's just something I have to deal with all the time. And I've totally separated from her energy. I took her off my phone. She
Mm-hmm.
demonstrated that energy to me so strong one day. I said, "I'm out. You're out of my phone. You're." Eh. But now she gave a phone to. She bought a phone for my 9-year-old grandson. And I went over there and like, what are you doing? Why is it? And he already has 2 tablets that he's in his bed half the time working the 2 tablets.
Oh,
And when
I
I go over there, my son's on his phone, the 9-year-old's on his phone. I'm like, what the hell's going on over here? Do you people have a brain? And I just went off on both of them. And I just got in, and something was saying, calm down, calm down. And my son, Mom, you can't control anything. His mother gave him the phone, blah, 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 blah. And I said, right. And I just slammed out there, got what I needed out of the kitchen, slammed out. I had to work on myself all night. So thank goodness a friend sent me this beautiful new moon or full moon meditation.
uh-huh.
I did that. I did a lot of tapping, if you know
I
EFT.
do. I love
I
it.
did, I did a lot of tapping on
Yep.
letting go of
I
the worry, concern, and the acceptance that people want me to practice over there. I said to him, don't you realize that being on the phone and the tablet, professionals and experts have said how dangerous that is, especially for a 9. Anyway, I went on and on and on. And I'm like here today, like I'm not even gonna deal with the grandkids won't be here all weekend. So I'm not gonna have to deal with any of that energy.
yeah.
And I'm going to the park and I'm calling a friend who just moved here and I'm like, let's go to the park. We need
Good, good.
and I need to detox from these
I know.
people. What would you advise me, Kyle, with all this comes up and I know I have to let it go quick, otherwise I'll be feeling weak and tired, or because I know
Yep.
if you won't let go of those type of emotions, they're going to affect me physically.
Yep.
I know I don't want to be tired. And so what would you advise me, Kyle, with this situation?
Okay. Well, here's what I do in sessions with clients. So I have a tennis racket, and we hit the bed. So yep, got bed in my office, and that racket goes over your head, and you hit that bed, and you put on that bed whoever it is you need to say things to, and you just say it, and you say it, and you say it, and bad words can come out of your mouth. It doesn't matter, and you cry, and you scream, you get mad, you get angry, but you have to get down. You have to squat as you hit. You have to open up the energy in your hips, you know. And so when you're opening up this up here, which is holding back love, all this armoring up here in your shoulders and your neck and your back. And so we're going after all those muscle groups, and also your ankles are bending. And so you're just opening up to where your body can ground again, because when we get all up in our head, there's just crap up there. Crap. And it's trying to run the show. And no, well, you're the only one that knows what's right. You need to go tell those people. It's telling you a bunch of stuff. It's only going to make things worse. It's only going to mess up the whole deal. But if you can come and you want to come with love and acceptance to these people. That's what they need more than anything. They don't need clobbering. They're not looking to know how to eat and how to drink and how not to this and how. No, they don't really want any of that. They're not on that page. And so you're just looking like a crazy person over here. And believe me, I've done it. And so you want to release that energy. It's between you and you. It's not really about them. And so you got some things to just clean out. And that, it's actually more powerful if you're doing it with a witness, somebody who you love and trust. And that's what, I as a therapist try to be for my clients. Because when you were a child and you had no control and you couldn't speak your mind and you couldn't be as free or as energetic or as lively as you felt you wanted to be, because you had to make everybody happy around here, and they see you as this, and that's what's acceptable, and those other parts of you just have to go away. So so the child in you doesn't know you can do that and doesn't know it's okay. So just it's nice to have that support. But you're doing absolutely great because you're doing what you need to do. You get away, don't get out in nature and get some support. People aren't going to beat you up because you're admitting you were crappy and bad and wrong. you know it makes a difference, and people you can just laugh with and have fun and celebrate life. Yeah, you just change the channel, change that. At the EFT, I love EFT. I'll do it in the middle of the night. I'll do it whenever I need it. And if I have good tears to cry, they come out, and you get a good release. It just needs to happen, and it's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah, I was doing EFT with a friend who has dealt with, to me, a lot of fear in her life.
Mm-hmm.
We did several rounds of EFT, and things were coming up that she hadn't thought about really. And she was asking me about something. I said, "You need to work on that part that just came up."
Yeah.
Do you find that with when you're working with yourself or EFT that when you're tapping, usually it's almost like something bubbles out of your subconscious that
Yeah.
you need to remember and tap on. Do you
Yeah.
find that happening with yourself or your clients?
I find it happening, with my clients in sessions. It's so interesting because, like I said, and what the article is about is, so they will tell me what's going on, what the issue is. They have an idea in their head and they're telling me, but at the same time, they'll be scratching here or touching. They'll be touching a part of their body that tells me this is where we need to work. So I'll take the story, but I know the truth is going to come out of the body somewhere else. And it comes out in the order it needs to come out. So it doesn't take you back somewhere where it's not alive. You have to go where the thing is alive. So the same thing with EFT would be, yeah, you're opening up the meridians, and now what's alive, what really needs to come to the surface will come up, and then you can deal with it because you can't really go there until it's ready. So yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful. That's why we love EFT. And like you said, when you're tapping, we're opening up meridians. I hadn't
Mhm.
thought about it as much lately, but it's body talk, it's tapping into
Mhm.
your meridians, and
Yeah.
then your body is so amazing that
Yeah.
it responds to touch.
Yes.
Touch, 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 touch. And I
Right.
think as a child, I was not into touching my body at all. Did
Oh,
you
I have.
ever, in your religious upbringing, was there ever something that said, "Don't touch your body, don't do this, don't
It,
do
well, they
too much"?
might have. They might as well have, because that's definitely the messages we got. you know, I had one of my trainers. I remember her saying that to me in a session in front of the group, and she said, "You can touch your own body." The most obvious stupid thing.
Okay.
And you're like, "Oh well, yeah." So it is kind of crazy, isn't it?
I mean, even I'll just be very transparent. Even as a mature woman with no partner, the man I was involved with for 5 years just passed in October,
Oh,
and
I'm sorry.
we didn't do a lot of touching after a while anyway because he was so in so much pain.
Uh-huh.
And he loved to be touched, though. He
Oh,
loved for me to massage his hands.
oh,
He
yeah.
would ask me when he was really suffering. He said, "Can you give me a hand massage?" And I said,
Oh,
"Sure." And so
yeah.
at the end of his life, in fact, a couple of days before he passed, I asked him, "Would you like me to do a hand massage?" And he just shook his head. And he
Uh-huh.
sat up briefly, and I said, "Would you like me to rub your back?"
Oh, yeah.
And so in those last moments, I was so relieved to be able to bring some kind of relief and comfort to
Yeah.
him, because they started pouring in the morphine, and that
Oh,
was the end of it.
yeah.
But touching, when I lay down at night, I have no partner. I haven't had a partner. I had no sex for probably over a year now, more than that actually.
Mm.
I touch my whole body. I touch my private area. If I feel the need to massage in that area, I do.
Mhm.
And we don't necessarily have to be looking to reach a climax of any kind, but my
Right.
body is telling us, our body, let's just say our body is telling us it wants to be touched.
Yeah.
If you haven't had a partner, if you were in a relationship, and you were used to being touched and hand holding, and now you don't
Right.
have it. My grandchildren won't even hug me sometimes. It's like, I don't want to be hugged. That's
Oh,
that. So I have to hug myself. Damn it! I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you. And I
yeah.
was at a birthday party with a friend, and her grandchildren there. These kids just naturally came up and gave me a hug. I almost wanted to cry. I was like,
Oh.
what's wrong with these kids? They're hugging me. They barely know me.
I know.
Touching.
It's
I'm just trying to say, touch your body. That's part of the healing, in my opinion. What do you think?
Oh, I love that. Yeah. I found myself doing that, in bed one night, just started massaging everything, just kind of, why not? There's a lot of places we can reach and just touch and squeeze and feel better. If
Yeah.
tension is, if pleasure is, the opposite of tension, pain, and pain is tension, then hell, I want to get rid of some of this tension, you
Start
know?
touching. And you
Yeah.
mentioned earlier about how the spinal cord holds on to a lot of tension, and you do a work with
Yeah.
releasing that. And I don't know if you're familiar with yoga. There's
Oh,
an
yeah.
exercise of spinal flex where you do this work. You're sitting on your position on the floor, and you just do this. And I've been in yoga classes where we do this
Uh-huh.
spinal flexing, bending, stretch for like 5 minutes, and afterwards, all my pain's gone.
Yeah, I
It was
know.
the first time that happened. I'm like, whoa! I had pain in my leg. I had pain here. And when you do this spinal flexing for a while,
Yeah.
it starts moving. What, the energy? Would you say?
Yeah. Well, it moves, there's darkness in tension. Stuff gets held in and that's not good. It's putrefying in the body. You want to expunge that. You want to work that out. Yeah. So any way you can work, that I have that long roller tube, not that long, it's only about 2, 3 feet, pretty big, and I'll put that on. I'll lay on that on my back, and just force that spine forward, up and over that. You want to work your spine as much as you possibly can. Keep that. You want the synovial fluid to flow, the way it's meant to, not to have stops and starts. And yeah, it's just it feels
Part
good.
of part of the reason my partner for 5 years was not able to heal is he was constipated most of his life. He told me.
Oh, gee,
So he learned to use laxatives of all kinds, herbs. There's one he used all the time called Swiss Chris. I don't know if you ever heard of that one.
no.
And he became a master herbalist. He died at 78, and most of his life he was constipated. And then I would say the last 3 years he was in a lot of pain. He couldn't urinate fully,
Uh huh.
and he was resistant to try new things and let things flow, as we're talking about.
Yeah.
When things got stuck in his colon, and he became toxic, because at the end of his life he went to the VA and they told him, your blood is poisoned
Yeah.
and your kidneys are collapsing or falling, are
Mm-hmm.
shutting down. So that's when they put him on hospice. But he was managing, that was probably going on for a while, and he was managing it
Right.
with herbs and just staying in bed most of the time and
Right.
suffering.
Yeah.
Now, this is the life of someone who had a very abusive childhood, both mental, physical, verbal, and maybe sexual.
Right. Right.
And then he married someone and they divorced. And then he went to Vietnam And his second wife died of breast cancer. And he really thought he was going to heal the second wife of her breast cancer because he had so much knowledge about herbs and he was reading a lot. I found a book that he left at his house called Breast Cancer in Women. It was all about breast cancer, written by a Black man about how to heal breast cancer in Black women. And it was all about getting into the oncologist's office and taking the drugs. That's basically, it was not dealing with what we're talking about today, the energy work.
Right.
So, how important do you think today it is to emphasize the energy work like we're talking about when we're healing anything?
Yeah, no, energy is the key. You know, that they're calling it, you know, metabolic health, and it's true. You know, it's just got a new, they're dressing it up. Energy's been around forever. We've talked about it, we've worked at it. You know, it's been a healing, you know, a known healing approach for, you know, millennia, but it's they shove it aside and they make fun of us and, you know, yogas and this, and they make fun of it, you know, any of it, because it's a threat to the system. The system has to survive, you know, and so just because it's, you know, one on the side or on the outskirts, it's not trusted as much, but it's crazy important. And it's just, it's going to be known. There's no running around and running away from it going forward, because it's going to blockbuster come out that this is the only way to heal, you know, trapped
So,
energy.
what do you think about AI for healing? What's your perspective? Are you using AI? What's your thoughts about this advanced AI, artificial, or I call it creative intelligence? What's your thought on that?
Well, there will be, yeah, AI is gonna bring great things, but it also has, you know, there can be, there's so much darkness on the planet that those people are gonna use it too. You know, so we just have to be very, if you're grounded, you'll know what's what, you'll know what's true, you'll feel it, and you'll know where to go and what to do and what, you know, what to avoid, what to run away from.
I love that you said if you're grounded.
Yeah, and we,
Explain that a little further. If you're grounded, you'll know how to use it.
yeah, because, well, because the energy, well, you know, the chakras, and so the crown chakra comes, you know, down from the heavens into our body, and, you know, then we release it down into the ground, and then we draw from the earth. So there's a give and take, and there's an exchange, and all that stuff really matters. You know, that's how you connect with your divine energy, your soul, and your soul's purpose. So if you're not grounded, if you have all these blocks, if you walk around with your shoulders all crunched down forward and together, you know, and you'll see the people with the big humps on their backs because they've been doing it so long, or your head's way forward, you know, because you're always looking at a screen or looking down, and you've really got to reclaim your body. You've got to, you know, open up those blocks, and you'll feel the difference. Pain, your pain, you won't even feel pain. How could you? If you let go of that tension. So, however you can go after that, you need to go after it. You know, Rolfing is very extreme, but people do it, and it makes a difference. Um, Feldenkrais, there's a lot of practices that are all about opening up that energy, and a lot of different kinds of workshops and approaches that are about opening up the breath, giving you back your full aliveness.
So I'm gonna put here. I think I can get your is it okay to show your phone number and email address?
Yes, my office number, you have that one?
Well, it's 519-4123. Is that it?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
And then my email, hoofnaglekyle@gmail.
Okay. So there, if you want to get a hold of Kyle, give her a call. Or if you're in Orlando, where is your office at home?
Yes, I have a home office out here in Geneva.
Okay. So give her a call, connect with her. And if you're in the area, you can go say hello and have a session.
And also, I'm a affiliate with Centroprix. I sell the Cloud, Kloud, and it's a good, you know, it's like a med bed basically. You know, it's getting energy down into your the tiniest of your blood vessels, the capillaries. And so if you have numbness and, nephritis, it's very good for opening that up. I bought mine when I had my most recent cancer diagnosis, and I went in the interim. So I had my biopsy in August. I had my surgery to make sure they got it all in December, and there wasn't one cancer cell. So that was the main thing I added to my healing protocol. And so I think that was very instrumental. And some
Have
people
you ever gone through chemotherapy and with all those diagnoses? Okay, so
no,
why did you decide not to do that?
I don't believe in poisoning my body to make it heal.
Okay, so we're definitely on the same page with that. And there's so many people who don't think like that at all. They look at the chemotherapy as a solution from their oncologist. They trust their oncologist. So as we said, meeting them where they are. I'm glad you stated that when you're trying to help people is saying, okay, I understand, right? I understand how you believe and how you were basically programmed to think that the solution is in the sick care system, which is collapsing, and things like cloud are taking over, wouldn't you say?
Yes, it's new, it's breakthrough, and it's wonderful. And there's going to be even more big breakthrough, things that are going to heal people. So yeah, that's where the future is.
And you said it's like one step from the med bed, and not med bed, Beamer.
It's the new improved Beamer is how I
New
would.
improved Beamer. And I have a friend who has had a Beamer for many years. She uses it every day practically, and it has helped maintain her health.
Yeah.
But the med bed is coming, folks. It's here. It's already here. It's already here.
It's been already here, and it's not even. It's old school now. But what's coming is going to be crazy, crazy. Yeah, no, that's old school now. That's already like moving on.
And Trump has been teasing about the med bed. There's been videos he's put out. The med bed's coming. It's going to be in every hospital. It's going to be and then the video disappears. So people are asking, well, what is that all about? And I'm like, that's what's here. It's already here.
Yeah, well, he's letting us know that the healing is going to be different. Just period. It's going to be different. So people are at least know what that is, or some people know what that is, and they're like, okay, so it's going to be something along another line, totally different than what we're currently, dealing with. But also this month, the sale, Centropix has really good prices on the cloud and the mini cloud, and I've not seen the prices this good. Like it's 3,000, it's right around 3,000 for the big full body mat, and then the smaller one is even a lot more reasonable. And you can fold these things up. If you have horrible pain here in your wrist, you fold up the mini and wrap it around it, and you're getting crazy energy going into it, because it takes energy to heal. And I use it, I wrap it up like that and do it around my head at least 15 minutes a day, because our heads, think of all the toxicity that we're experiencing, and you got to have ways to fight this.
Well, yeah, especially like people have been using plastics forever. Now they're saying they're finding microplastics in the blood. And then I have family who wants to use plastics every time they get.
Of course.
It's like, okay, I have to just, my thought, my motto is stay in your lane, mind your own business.
Good girl.
Mind your own business.
Good girl. Because the people you can help, they'll come to you. You don't have to, clobber the ones that don't want help. You know what I mean? If they're ready for help, they're going to seek you out. You're going to be there for them.
And my son he's getting ready for a colonoscopy. You know why? Because he's been programmed at 45. He just turned 45.
Right.
At 45, you need a colonoscopy. He said something that was very true and valid. He said, because of his diet and lifestyle, he needs a colonoscopy. I'm like, you're right.
That's good. Yeah, we meet them where they are. So you support them. Say, oh, great. I'm glad you recognize that. Good.
And I said, just let me know when it's going to happen. I'll say a prayer so they won't make any mistakes, because they do make mistakes.
Yes.
And things have happened. He's, oh, you don't have to worry about it. Yeah, just slip out for my own peace of mind.
Yes, exactly.
Because I am living on your property here, and if something happens, I could have to adjust my life. So I'm
Right.
always sending prayers to that family because of their ignorance and where they are. Meeting them where they are is challenging to
I
say
know.
the least. But yeah, colonoscopy. Have you had many people tell you what has happened with them when they've done the colonoscopy?
No, but I
Okay.
don't. Yeah, but I'm not in favor of them.
Thank you. So we don't even need to hear all the story. I've heard so many
Nope.
stories that have Reddit. This what Reddit is good for broadcasting problems people have with cancer and all that. And I read some stories about what has happened, and that's when you can go into fear about what could happen. And then Kyle, I have to step back. No, not gonna have fear. It's not
No.
I'm staying in my lane, mind my own business.
Yes. Good.
But
That do that.
But the fear is what comes up a lot in people's lives of what if? What
Right.
if? How do we keep people? Not how do we keep, but how do we help people stay out of the what if this happens? What
Yeah.
if that happens? The
Well,
fear, basically.
well, I like the acronym FEAR is false evidence appearing real, because you can't have fear without, it's confusion. It's not truth. It's, fear is a different feeling than truth. And so, yeah, we've been propagandized our whole lives. And so, yeah, there's going to be a lot of baloney that we hear and that we, come in contact with all the time. Yeah, it's not productive to dwell on. And sounds like you're like me, and I will, if I just hear a bad story, or if my words speak a bad story, I will have direct consequences pretty darn quick from that. So nope, not feeding that.
Absolutely. And that's why I republished my book From Fear to Faith. And I'm going to just bring up the cover
Uh-huh.
that is available on my and when you send a cash app, you can get this book in a PDF form, and it's all about my journey with people who had cancer and showed me the root cause.
Mm.
I read a book by Sidney Poitier that showed me the root cause of his prostate cancer. And
Wow.
German New Medicine that I was studying at the time was telling me why people get cancer from unresolved traumas, emotional traumas in their life that they haven't resolved. So
Right.
you have been a great testimony to that with the amazing journey you had in your youth. My goodness. And then the cancers that showed up. And have you heard about, do you know about ACEs, adverse childhood experiences?
No, I haven't heard that.
Okay, so Kaiser did research with thousands of people to show that there are like 10 things that can happen to a child that will determine what type of disease they're going to have in their adult life. And they're called
Okay.
ACEs. They give you an ACEs score, adverse childhood experience score. When
Mm-hmm.
you ask these 12 questions, I think it is, if you all 12 are yes, you're going to have some type of cancer or disease in your
Right.
life. It's almost guaranteed. So
Mm-hmm.
you have already shown us your ACEs.
True.
And I give thanks and appreciation for your transparency that I hope will help many people see that even though you have these traumas and these adverse experiences, you can overcome them when you meet someone like Kyle who can help you, and myself who have the experience and who have done the work. This book is all about people. There's probably a dozen or more people in the book who I met. I met a woman, for instance, on a cruise ship or on the coast of Australia. And I met her in a Sabbath service on the cruise ship. I was there on this ship for I think 8 days. Oh, I'll never do. That was the beginning and end of my cruise experience. I said I don't ever want to go on another cruise again. It's too
I'm
much.
with you. I'm with you. I'm with you on that.
Not me, not me. Have you been on at least one yet?
I've been on 30.
Ah,
I closed that book about 10, 15 years ago.
30, right? 30.
Well, I was actually, the travel agent, did a a video of me, talking about it back when I was into cruises or thought cruises were all it. Nope, I'm not into them at all anymore.
So we were on the coast of Australia on a cruise ship. I went to a Sabbath service, and I wanted to worship. I wanted to get with some people who were in the worship. And this woman I started talking to told me she had breast cancer. I'm like, okay, but I was like, I kind of looked up and said, "You're setting me up again." Okay, here we go. Because I had been meeting people like that for a while. It's after my sister's breast cancer and her transition. I just started attracting people telling me about their disease and what happened. So it turned out, and so I said, well, let's meet tomorrow by the pool. And she was from Australia. Her husband had given her a cruise, a day or two cruise on this ship off the coast of Australia to just give her some peace of mind and all. Right. So we met at the pool. We sat down and talked. And it turned out she had been a nurse in a hospital for, I don't know, it was a long period of time, and she had been fired suddenly. I forget the reason. And she was traumatized by that.
Yeah.
So that trauma that she hadn't really resolved energetically lodged in her breast. So I shared with her at that point, I knew all about German New Medicine and the root cause and all that. And I shared with her about that. And it was like light bulbs going off for her about why she was sitting there with breast cancer. And so that was just one of many stories in that book about how people confirmed for me German New Medicine and the root cause of most diseases, traumas that had not been resolved.
Yeah.
So gratitude for your transparency. You have confirmed the ACEs score. You have a high ACE score, as you may not know, but you do.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
And yet you have overcome. So much gratitude for sharing that story so that people can see the power of overcoming the worst tragedies in your life, especially with relationships. You were never sexually abused, were you? Or we didn't go?
Well, actually, my family doctor at age 10 or 11.
Oh no.
Yeah. So I was in for something. I don't remember what. It may have been somewhat female related, but all I remember about it afterwards was sitting there while he and my mother laughed about him breaking my cherry. Yep. So.
Okay, your ACEs score just went up again. Like, oh my goodness, you probably checked off another box.
And a lot of these things I just rolled with at the times. I really didn't at the time know anything. You know what I mean? You're just a child. You don't really know anything. So you just think this is normal life for anybody or everybody.
But when you can laugh about it, that's the healing.
And I didn't start out laughing. When I did,
no.
I remember, I was a Methodist for, I don't know, my marriage. We were big in the Methodist Church, United Methodist. I remember going to a women's group one night and opening up my mouth about some of the, things that I've shared with you. I don't know what, but it was something kind of, in a vulnerable spot. And I just cried. And I cried, a deep, there's an old, deep, child inside crying, just bad, messy crying. So I've done a lot of that over the years, but I just said, I'm not going to be afraid of that. There's something about this. It needs to happen. And recently I worked, the last year I worked at a local, the Daylily nursery, and a farmer friend of mine needed help. So I worked there, and he and I, it's a rough personality, and he and I really did have our struggles. But he would bring out in me, he would touch a hurt, and it would come out, and I would just bawl. Bad bawling, but bad, strong hurt, And I'd even try, I would get mad at him or come back at him, and I'd say, nope, this is my pain. It doesn't belong over there. It's right here. And it was actually part of, I think, the healing for my cancer, that one too. That happened in that interim, one of those breakdowns where I just cried hard, and I hit a bad pain spot that needed some work. So yeah, never be afraid to go into those, find somebody safe to do it with. He was,
My partner who just transitioned, he would tell me I want to cry, but I can't.
oh, see, yeah. So he,
And I would like, let's watch a sad movie. Let's,
right, right.
get the tears flowing. They
Yeah,
just wouldn't flow.
yeah. That's not
And he
help.
was just blocked up in every, not just the colon, but the tear ducts and so much. And I triggered a lot of anger in him sometimes because you could do something to a person like that and they would just think you're disrespecting them because of the childhood disrespect, no authenticity because someone was totally controlling you. And
Right.
he would get angry that he was thinking, well, you're being disrespectful. I'm like, really? And I would just shut my mouth
Yeah,
and I would just realize he was going through another
yeah,
emotional situation. And then
yeah.
he would get over it. And then we would talk about some things that would come up that made him angry. But
Right.
he just could not cry.
Yeah, yeah.
So I cried a lot before he passed. I didn't wait till he passed to cry. I was shedding tears just for his pain.
Sure.
And like you said, you get in situations, especially if you're triggered, where something you just need to bawl
Yeah.
and just cry and
Yep.
don't get angry. Just cry because you
Yep.
remember why you have this pain.
Yeah. And it's not theirs. They just scratch the surface of it, and that's a gift. That lets you release it. But we want to think they did something to us. No, they're just being who they are, and your
Yeah,
and your souls have contracts with one another, and they agreed that
yeah, you said it. A lot of the things we don't understand why this conflict or what's the trauma is a contract, a soul contract. Unfortunately, my friend didn't believe in reincarnation either. So he was stuck in the present journey he was on, trying
right,
to understand why his parents gave him away.
right,
And one therapist said, well, it could have been a past life. He said, I don't believe in that. He said, here
yeah,
we go. So the pain continued. And then he passed on my grandmother's birthday.
oh,
So it was like, whoa, this all makes sense now. Contract. That's when I said soul contract.
yeah,
How is a man in your life that you only know for 5 years gonna decide to leave on your maternal mother's birthday? It's like, who does that? The
right,
universe did it. That's what I said.
yeah,
So
yeah,
and then now I can laugh about our whole that man and we went to Cuba together and I
oh,
like talking about it because it's healing for me to understand
sure,
the journey that I was on was so complicated at times. I was like, in fact, I said I want a divorce. He and I married in a spiritual way.
uh-huh,
And at some point I'm like, I need a divorce. This is too hard. This man
yeah,
gets angry and blah 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 blah. I don't want to be in this relationship. And then if things would calm down and I'll say, okay, I can do this.
yep,
And then when he passed, it was like, he's at peace now. I'm so glad he's at peace. And my
yeah,
prayer had been, thank you for healing him. For months, I was like, thank you for healing him. Not, please heal him. Oh, please heal him. Please heal him.
right,
That went on for a little while. And then I'm like, thank you for healing him. I know his
good,
healing needs to be a soul level healing. So whatever you do, just thank you.
yeah,
And
good,
then on my grandmother's birthday, really?
yeah. I know. I have one of those stories too. My grandson, I have a 13-year-old grandson, but his due date, my daughter didn't even know she was pregnant until she was about 5.5 months pregnant. I said, she was laying around in bed a lot. I said, hey, I think you need to see my gynecologist. So we took her in, and sure enough, she's pregnant. She comes out, her face is white as a sheet. Okay, okay. And so, what's her due date? I found my husband's body on November the 13th, 2009. It was a Friday the 13th. So
Ooh,
what's his due date? November the 13th. And I'll tell you what, the birth of that child, and he wasn't born on his due date. He was, they, did induced her on the 15th, but he was such a healing blessing to both of us. You can imagine her at age 20, 21, a sophomore in college. She loses her father, suicide. Such a healing. I mean, such beauty and joy in a baby, a beautiful redheaded boy. It's just amazing and beautiful and so
new
healing.
life.
Yeah, that's
Yep,
great.
that's what we do. We just keep circulating new life coming in, new life going out.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. It's been such a pleasure to be with you today, Kyle. And I hope we can meet and have tea or something since we're in the same area at least.
I know. I loved it, Beata. Thank you.
And my partner left me a car, so now I can get around more.
Good girl.
As long as I keep it's running great right now. And I saw a video that says how to take your car to 300,000 miles. And I'm like, it said 195 right now. I'm like, I was taking no. Okay, what do you do? High grade. You got to get the gas has to be a higher level. And he just
Uh-huh.
gave make sure your tank doesn't go below a quarter of a tank. And I'm like,
Uh-huh.
okay, we're gonna keep this car running. It was a gift. So I'm gonna
Yay.
keep it running as much as I can. So
Great.
any last words for our viewers?
Go out and make somebody's day a great day. I don't know where you're going or what you're doing, or even if it's your home, you can just sit there and spread some light. You just open your heart first and let that light flow out, and send it to people you know that could use some light, or or if you're wherever you're shopping, whatever you're doing, smile, be kind, pay a compliment. You'll feel better, and so will they.
Absolutely. Well spoken, well spoken. Be the light. Instead of
Yes,
expecting lights everywhere, that's what we do during this season. You be the light and
that's
make
it.
someone's day. Well said. Thank you so much. Appreciate you.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
And we say thank us, meaning thank united spirits. We are united in our soul journey to bring more light, love, and peace to this planet, right?
Right. We
All
are.
right. So it's a beautiful day in Florida. How about this weather? I mean, really,
Ooh, gorgeous.
we go from 60 to 80 during the day. We just love Florida. Come on down. We'll welcome you too.
True.
All right. See you later. Have a great day.
Okay. You too.
To all my yogi friends out there, namaste, sat nam, aho, aho, and ashe, ashe, to all my brothers and sisters, and shalom. Be the light.